Now let's talk a little about different types of modulations, as this song makes use of multiple types of key changes. There are 2 types of general modulations and 3 types of modulation methods, and I will briefly go over each here. There are 2 types of general modulations, the first of which I call circular modulations, where the chord progression changes keys but works its way back to the initial key fairly quickly. In other words, the key change is part of the progression. It's not the typical modulation we're accustomed to, where you're permanently bringing the song into a new key. The second type of general modulation is a migration modulation, where you bring the song up to a new key, usually permanently, or at least for a significant length of time. The Warmth of the Sun contains both types of general modulations. The initial progression contains a circular modulation because it changes keys on the 3rd chord of the song, but works its way quickly back to the original key by the 5th chord of the song. Change keys. Then we're back in the first key, as if we had never left. So that's a great example of a circular modulation, where the key change is worked into the chord progression itself and is not permanently bringing us to a new key. At the end of the second chorus, Brian does a migration modulation with a quick 2-5 in the key that's a half step higher than the original key, and it suddenly brings the song permanently up a half step. So from the chorus, it's warmth of the sun. Here comes the modulation real quick. So now we're up a half step in B. Permanently, we're up a half step from that point forward. So that is a migration modulation. Besides the 2 types of general modulations, there are also 3 types of modulation methods. First, we have what I call a fully announced modulation, where it is a clear key change that's coming for at least a few seconds, and the listener is pretty much expecting it. As an example, I'm going to give you a song I wrote for the first I.S.S. album, an album called Forget About the Girl, which you can get at timsmolens.com. This is a song called Only in My Dreams. So it's in C, and we're going to work our way up to the key of D flat, or C sharp, or whatever you want to call it. So I'll display the chords on the chart on the screen here, but we're going to end up doing a 4-5 in C, and then going up to flat 6, which is going to announce that we're going up a half step. You'll hear it. So it goes on the phone, I'm barely clothed, I'm following something but singing, don't run away, don't be only in my dreams. Here it comes in a sec. 4. Don't run away, don't be only in my dreams. Everybody knows it's coming up a half step. I don't know why everybody's. So we heard it was going 4. Don't run away, don't be only in my dreams. Everyone could tell. So that's what I call a fully announced modulation. A clear key change is coming. Next, we have what I call a semi-announced modulation, where the listener is sort of ambushed with a quick chord change or 2 that leads to a new key, but it's kind of startling how quickly it comes. So that one I just demonstrated on the Warmth of the Sun chorus, where it suddenly goes up a half step, is a great example of a semi-announced modulation. Warmth of the sun. Out of nowhere. It didn't just go straight to the key. It did have lead-ins, but it was very quick. The end of the Bridge of Surfer Girl is another good semi-modulation. In my woody, I will take you everywhere I go here. It does a real quick semi-announced modulation. It's not a real long one like the fully announced modulation that I showed you earlier. Last is what I call an unannounced modulation, where there is no warning whatsoever or any chords that connect the 2 keys or indicate a modulation is coming. It just goes straight to it. The Warmth of the Sun initial progression is a great example. It does 2 chords in B flat and then goes straight up to D flat. Completely unannounced and surprising, so no indication whatsoever that it's coming. If you know the Beach Boys song Keep an Eye on Summer, that's a great example of an unannounced modulation. We'll be graduating, and we'll be so far here it goes. We're going to modulate up to D flat. Out of nowhere, there was no chord that went to it. So we have fully announced modulations, semi-announced modulations where they happen pretty quick, but there are some chords connecting them, and then unannounced modulations where without warning and without any connecting chord, it goes straight to the new key. So why is it important to know all these general modulations and modulation methods? If you are an aspiring songwriter looking to advance your craft, then by employing a variety of modulations, it provides a much-needed diversity to your songs. Most modulations you hear on the radio, especially from the 80s songs, use a fairly predictable modulation method, and as a writer, you don't want to get caught up in overusing those. Brian Wilson may be the best songwriter in pop music history at utilizing a wide variety of creative modulations, and by studying them, such as we're doing here, it will only help improve on compositional competence and give you more tools in your belt with which you can call upon. Thanks a lot for watching this video and taking an interest in my channel. Please help me reach a larger audience by hitting subscribe below and ringing the notification bell. Check out my video playlist page to find the categories that most interest you. Leave me a super thanks here on YouTube, and even better, come join my Patreon. Please consider buying music for my original projects I.S.S. and High Castle Teleorchestra. Also, don't forget to sign up for my email list on the front page of timsmolens.com. You can find information about all of those things in the description below. Thanks again.